All right, good morning again. This is take two of our daily devotion. Today is Thursday, it's August the 29th. I just recorded this, but apparently it wasn't recording, so now I'm getting a chance to do it a second time. Our theme today is going to be focusing on the concept of Zion. Zion was a mountain in Jerusalem where the temple was built, and it's also synonymous with the city of Jerusalem itself. And I want to read for you a number of places in the Psalms where it talks about Zion. So I'm using the concordance in the back of my NIV Bible. But Psalm 2 verse 6 talks about God's king on Zion, his holy hill. Psalm 9:11, to the Lord enthroned in Zion. 74 verse 2, Mount Zion where you dwell. 87 verse 2, the Lord loves the gates of Zion. 102:13, and have compassion on Zion. And 137 verse 3, sing us one of the songs of Zion. The Israelites used to love to praise Zion. Zion was the city of God. It was the city that God had created. It was the city that God had given to David, so that David would build his palace there. Solomon would build the temple there. And people would have a fascination about the city of Zion itself when they would make pilgrimage to go to Zion from all over different cities in Israel. You know, we don't really have this concept today in our country of a favored city. You know, we might talk about, oh, you should see the coast of California. You should see the Rockies of Colorado. You should see the Appalachians of West Virginia. You know, you should see the Adirondacks of New York. We have all of this language that favors scenery. But people in Israel would favor a city. You know, I was in Germany a month ago, and I was just really just in awe of the cities of Germany, Dresden and Berlin and Leipzig, and how in each of these cities, they have these very majestic buildings with columns and murals and statues and gold leaf and just the amount of money and artistry and craftsmanship that went into making these buildings. It's just, you know, one of the most incredible things I've ever seen structurally. And, you know, that's how they looked at Jerusalem, except with a religious component too, that this was the city that God had favored, the city that God had set aside. So there would be all this language in the Psalms praising the city and developing within the worshiper a desire, a deep desire to love this city, to romanticize about this city, to favor this city, because it was the city that God had created. It was the city that God had resurrected and had chosen as the place where his name would dwell. And in the New Testament, the Gospel of John talks about Jesus as this place where God's name dwells, that the presence of God dwells in the flesh of Jesus. The flesh of Jesus is synonymous to the buildings of the Old Testament, to the temple itself, except Jesus is a temple that is in flesh and blood, and where the presence of God dwells, where we now go for the presence of God. And the book of Revelation talks about also a heavenly Jerusalem, a new heaven and a new earth, that we view Jesus in this cosmic sense, that at the end of the age, we will dwell in the presence of God in the new heaven and the new earth and live in the new Jerusalem, so that we can sing these praises of God in the Psalms and anticipate this heavenly existence, and also look back and share in the awe of the Israelites as they saw this from an Old Testament perspective. We can still value that and